Hi there, it's Tara. Just coming to update you real quick about where I am with my Bells Palsy journey. Today is day 19 of having Bells Palsy. And I will say I am showing some signs of improvement, which is great. And from what I've read online, I did read somewhere, and I'm kind of holding on to it, that if in the first 3 weeks you start to show some sign of improvement, it hopefully means that you're going to have a quicker recovery. So obviously that's what I'm hoping for. But we'll see, I guess. So if you can tell, right now I still can't move the right side of my face. Can't blink my eye. When I smile, clearly I'm only smiling the left side of my face. However, when I sit still or don't move my face, you'll tell that the symmetry, specifically in my mouth is where I'm noticing most of the recovery starting. So I'm going to not smile for a second and just show you that the symmetry is much more aligned. The droop that was there initially is pretty much gone, I would say. Then my lower lip is drooping a little bit, but not as much. So I'll show you. So you can tell that my mouth is almost even. And I will say it has been positively impacting my eating and my drinking. Not as much liquids falling out of my mouth when I drink. I'm having an easier time eating on both sides of my mouth versus just having to eat everything on the left side of my mouth and food getting stuck on the right side of my mouth. My eye still isn't blinking. It is pretty watery. I don't know if that's typical of Bell's palsy, but it's pretty watery, though sometimes it does get dry and I do the drops, but a lot of them just kind of fall out, and then my lower eyelash gets all crusty. Anyway, the good thing is that it's not dry, so I don't have to patch it except for at night. And then sometimes when I'm outside, if like the wind is bothering me, I'll put my goggles on, which are on my head right now. The other thing, which I don't know, I think is getting better over the past day or so. So my nostril collapsed. I don't think it's my nostril so much as the muscles holding up my face here, like these muscles here and then on my cheek, caused my nostril to kind of collapse. And there's been honestly times in the past week, especially, I think, there's days when I'm really feeling the impact of what's going on. The longer and longer it goes on, and it's causing me some anxiety at times, to be honest. I had pretty much a panic attack yesterday, which is very, very rare for me. I've had a few in my later years, triggered obviously by stress, mostly stress related to one of my children who has special needs, and is pretty medically complex. So usually it's been stress somewhat around that. This is probably somewhat of that, but then also what's going on here. And I am supposed to be flying. This was all planned way before this all happened, but me and two of my other children, I have 3 kids, my 2 older boys and I were supposed to be flying out in 2 weeks to California. We live in Massachusetts, flying out to California to see my brother and his family. And I was talking about it yesterday evening, and I like to travel. I haven't traveled really since before COVID, but in general, I like to travel and fly. And something triggered a full-on panic attack in me. I think some of it is my son, like I said. Some of it could be that I haven't traveled in so long. And so I think the longer you go with something like that, it can build up anxiety in your mind. And then finally, it's not the cosmetic aspect of what's going on here. Obviously, I don't like it. It does make me feel self-conscious, but I can live with that part of it. It's more that I don't feel safe in my own body right now. If that makes any sense. I just don't feel safe in it. I just don't know what's happening to it. This is, my eye not closing. Things that I took for granted before aren't working properly, and it makes me really scared to be outside of my comfort zone, and flying across the country. So I just had a full-on panic attack, and I thought I couldn't breathe. Thankfully, it lasted just a few seconds, well, a few minutes, and then I calmed down, but it was definitely scary. And I think it made me really realize that I really need to, not only during this time, but after this time, really hone in on some good coping mechanisms for stress, because I could see how people that deal with chronic anxiety and have panic attacks, how it's like that snowball effect. At some point, just something, the scales tilt, and I could just see that happening with me. So I really want to try and really use this time to come out of it saying, I learned something, I'm better for it, I'm stronger for it. And I think part of it is going to be what do I need to implement in my life to deal with stress? So anyway, so I don't even know where I was going with this, but yeah, so my panic attack last night. Oh yeah, going back to my nostril, and then I'll finish this up. So I think a lot of it is that sometimes it's hard to actually breathe. It feels like my nose is stuffy in this nostril. And if I just hold up my skin a little bit, I can breathe clearly. So obviously it's that collapsed nostril that's making it feel a little challenging to breathe. And sometimes I think that gets into my head where I think, oh my gosh, this is impacting my lungs, or this is impacting my ability to breathe. Maybe it's the Lyme disease, maybe I have, meningitis. It's just like this snowball effect. When in reality, it really probably just is my nostril has collapsed, because when I do this, I can breathe. So anyway, so that's where I am. I will keep you posted. Hopefully next time there'll be even more improvement. And for all of you who are going through this as well, my thoughts go out to you, and I'm thinking of you, and I hope that you have a quick recovery. Good night.